Well, that was a lie. My Hero Academia, one of the most popular anime of the last decade. Maybe you love the characters in the show, or maybe you've smelt the fandom and decided to keep your distance. Seriously, I watch one TikTok from these fans and it becomes all 13 of my reasons why. Whatever your stance on the series though, there's no denying that My Hero Academia has had a massive impact on the anime community over the last decade, for better or for worse. Definitely for worse. The concept of a manga based on Western superheroes was honestly pretty unique. Like this man Deku switches from Spider-Man to Batman like we're flipping between every male's two personalities. The anime adaptation by Studio Bones has also been pretty solid throughout its 7-season run. And now after 10 years, 430 chapters, and way too many disgusting pieces of fan art and ships, the series has finally come to a close. And let's just say it wasn't a good one. Now first, let's look at what made MHA so compelling in the first place. Other than the incredible art, I think My Hero Academia had some great story qualities. It excelled in building its world well, and I enjoyed exploring the ideas of what it means to be a hero, and having a society where it's an actual occupation. And then we also have Mineta's quest to avoid being locked up in prison for the rest of his life. Seriously, this man cannot be allowed to be a hero. Along with this, the characters weren't like the normal anime high schoolers that you're probably used to seeing in other shows. MHA works because we see the full growth from these teenagers to when they have to step up and become adults. Midoriya was a young boy, born powerless in a world full of superheroes, and strives to become a hero throughout his whole life. But being a hero isn't all about having powers, especially considering that most people are doing this for fame or money. But through his initial act of saving his biggest hater / his #1 fan from dying, he wound up becoming a true hero in the eyes of the strongest of them all. He then ate some hair, went through some interesting secluded training sessions with a middle-aged man, and throughout the course of 5 seasons, learned how to use his powers. As time passed though, the stakes ramped up. The students weren't able to sit back and let the adults take care of things. Deku himself had to be the one to save the world from being absolutely destroyed. And so after 400 chapters of our main character pushing through his trials, having a blossoming romance, when he finally does get his win and takes down the big bad, does he get his happy ending and become the greatest hero? Well, sorta. See, in Deku's final battle with Shigaraki, his goal wasn't just to kill Shigaraki. He wanted to be a hero, he wanted to save him. But because this isn't Naruto or Dragon Ball Z, that didn't work out too well for him and Shigaraki ended up dying. That was already a detriment for Deku's goals, but along with that, he lost his own set of superpowers. And by the end of it, Deku was kinda strong. He was basically Spider-Man who could fly and had Black Panther's kinetic energy blast. I swear, toss him into the Marvel universe, bro would have been a first draft pick for the next Avengers. But everything Deku had vanished over the course of this epilogue. Our closing chapters see us go into a time skip where Deku is now left completely powerless. His friends have gone off to become pro heroes while Deku is left to become a teacher. Now people may want to undermine it, but Deku is actually really smart. He knows the ins and outs of most people's quirks and is strategic enough to learn their weaknesses. So he's sort of in the perfect position to teach people how to use their quirks properly. But bro is going to be telling the stories of how life was beforehand. He's like the equivalent of the 33-year-old uncle telling you that he would have gone pro if he didn't quit Little League Baseball because of his leg injury. To make matters worse, Deku is left unable to see his friends very often. Even the people he was seemingly closest to have left him behind. Ida, Bakugo, Todoroki, and even Uraraka, the girl that he's been set up with from the beginning of the series. But the thing is that this is absolutely not what Deku wants. Deku wants to be there, to be a hero with his friends again, but it's as life has passed him by. The story ends with All Might coming, slapping the end title, and then he's like, hey, by the way, all your friends that you haven't seen in 8 years pitched in to buy you an Iron Man suit, and now we end with Deku being able to stand by his friends once again, ready to go save Japan. But this still isn't satisfying in the slightest, because the two biggest problems with this ending lie in the fact that Deku is tossed to the side once he loses his powers. Deku losing his powers isn't inherently bad. MHA's core theme stays with the Spider-Verse movie. The fact that it's never been about powers. Anyone can be a hero. The moment Deku became a hero wasn't when he ate that old man's hair and gained super strength. It was when he made the active choice to risk his life to try and save someone else. And that could have been a fitting end. Deku being content after saving the world even at the cost of his powers, or only having him keep some of it. The problem here though is that the story absolutely slam dunks on Deku. Bro goes from riches straight to rags. The McDonald's memes really weren't for nothing. This man will be serving you pizza like that one Papa John's guy just trying to get his bills paid. And that's not even mentioning the fact that Deku got the worst anime haircut since Boruto massacred my boy. Oh, and to top it all off, bro gets ghosted by his girl. Nice. I've seen people compare Deku post time skip to my goat, Edward Elric. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood had an incredible ending. Our main character is placed in a somewhat similar position. He's able to beat the big bad guy and save the world, finally getting the bodies for him and his brother back at the cost of losing his ability to perform alchemy. But the difference between the two is that Edward is content. Sure, his powers were stripped from him, but he's happier this way. Even with having a small amount of loved ones, he was able to build a family and has some great friends as well. But this isn't the case for Deku. He lost his powers before he was able to reach his peak, when all he's ever wanted was to become a hero. The central theme of anyone being a hero gets completely undermined when your character doesn't even believe in that. Deku losing his powers would have been alright, except that he longs to go back to them and become a pro hero. It's clear that in the time he returns to being a regular human again, it isn't nearly enough for him. And honestly, with how he's treated, it makes sense he wants to go back to his glory days. Bro has basically been tossed aside by society. No statue, no powers, no friends, and certainly no bitches. This character here is basically inserted to make Deku feel like he was able to have his hero moment, showing that he is to some kid what All Might is to him. He has all these friends, but he feels constantly alone. And that's sort of real. Life happens, but having zero time constantly for 8 years is diabolical. And oh yeah, that romance they set up since episode 1? Like you're telling me she watched this shit and liked him, and you're not even gonna give him that? Bro can't snatch a single win. After having tons of chapters of Uraraka confessing her love for Deku to everyone other than him, how it changed her character. Yeah, that's all gone. Tossed to the side, never to be seen again. These two have been pushed together constantly, and for nothing to come from that is crazy. Like sure, the Bakudeku fans would have definitely came after Horikoshi, and I can respect his ability to dodge those death threats. But all that set up for nothing? It doesn't matter if he considers it headcanon or it's hinted at, because boy oh boy, My Hero Academia fans' headcanons are pretty damn scary. Even the fact that they destroyed this and Deku seems to barely care about the theme, we still have other issues that never got solved. 1. Why is this man a hero? Bro is definitely gonna be like Dr. Disrespect one day, I'm telling you. And 2. Where is your dad, Deku? Who are you, Ash Ketchum? Find me a damn shonen protagonist whose dad is actually in the picture. Milk cannot be that hard to find in Japan. Kohei Horikoshi said in 2018 that he would eventually see Deku's dad. You didn't have to do anything special, but to not have him show up even once is an absolute waste. So look, while I will say the ending of this isn't the worst I've ever seen, I genuinely don't think this is anywhere close to being good. MHA managed to play it relatively safe for a large portion of the story. They didn't commit to a singular important character death for heroes, and its treatment of the characters towards the end is also confusing. We have our side characters grow up and realize their dreams, but at the cost of our theme and having the main character be blocked off and then somehow shoved through to achieve his dreams. The character relationships are left undisclosed, and we still have a massive mystery left undone. I won't even mention the lack of vigilante support or references. And while somewhat thematically consistent, we sort of abandoned the idea that anyone can be a hero. My Hero Academia will still go on to be an absolute powerhouse of a shonen, with some fans that need to be locked up, that rock the manga space for a decade. But it's just a shame that instead of ending with a big bang, we're left with a culminated mash of unsatisfying loose ends fizzing out. That's all for me. See ya.